Just hold on to your dreams. As long as you keep your head in the sky, you can wait. As long as you keep your head in the sky, yeah.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the My Curvy Life Show with none other than your girl, Miss Fonda, coming to you also with our co-hosts, Miss Lasagna and Latanya Jones. We welcome you. We welcome you once, we welcome you twice, and three times, y'all, because my twins hold it down for us in the group pages that we have, which is the My Curvy Life group page and also our Accountability Network group page. So thank you, ladies, for all you do. If you have comments, please feel free to put them in the comment section. All right, put them in the comment section. So tonight we do have a special guest, and I'm very, very excited about our guests. I appreciate all of my guests that come on the show and that come to share, inspire, lift, guys, and inform us of things that are happening, whether it's entrepreneurship or a life's journey section or session on today. I do want to make a few quick announcements. First, I want to let you guys know this month is breast cancer awareness, and also it is domestic violence awareness month. Okay. Let's remember those that are going through the challenge of that or may have been through that challenge and have become a survivor. Those that are just battling with that. And, let's be a blessing to them. So Mary Kay, as you know, I am a consultant with Mary Kay Cosmetics, I am offering care packages this month. And I've been putting the postings out on my page, my Facebook page, and also the group pages. So please, if you would like to be a blessing to someone who has went through that endeavor or maybe going through that endeavor, please reach out to me. I would love for you to get them a care package to say we love you, we're praying for you, and thank God for healing you. All right, so if you're interested in that, I'm also always available, y'all, for facials. If you're interested in taking care of your skin, if you're interested in building a foundation, a good foundation, and you don't have to be a certain age, all right? If you're in your early 20s, if you're in your late 50s, 60, you can always start a good skincare regimen. So if that's you, reach out to me. I would love to assist you with that. Also, I am still planning to do our toiletry giveaway to the homeless. That is going to take place in November. I was shooting for November 1st, but things are moving a little slow. I'm trying to get some donations for that, and I have not yet been able to achieve that at this point. You guys have always been so supportive in giving in the endeavors of the homeless, and I appreciate you for all that you do, all that you've done. I do need your help. I want to do the toiletries because this time I usually do the feeds, and you guys know that. And I did one this year, but this time I want to do toiletries. That would be the little soaps, toothbrush, mouthwash, things of that nature. Okay, so I am looking to have you assist me with that. Okay, because I don't ask you to do anything that I don't do. So thank you in advance. I appreciate you for all that you do. Thank you for all your support, followers. Thank you. We're almost at 900, y'all. I'm excited about it. 900 followers in the group page. I'm shooting for that 1,000, and then it can only go up from there. But I celebrate all of you, and I thank all of you for being a part of this entity, because without you, as I always say, nothing happens. So thank you all. So tonight, guys, I'm very, very excited. I had an opportunity to meet a beautiful young lady. I was at a leadership conference not too long ago, and she just stood out to me for just her personality and her, I don't know, it was just her swag. And I just went up to her and I spoke with her. And so tonight she is coming on the show to talk about alopecia, guys, alopecia. And just in case some of you may not know what alopecia is, I took the privilege of looking that up just so that no one's lost. Alopecia. It is the medical term for hair loss, which can affect the scalp or other areas of the body. It can be temporary or permanent. All right. It can cause baldness or patchy hair loss in different areas. All right. I'm going to ask you guys to put in a request for everyone just to be kind in your comments. Um, when I have the shows on the life's journeys or anything that's personal, I always ask guys just to be kind and respectful. So thank you guys. I appreciate you all. So I am going to be introducing you and bringing into the show Miss Keya Willis. She was born and raised in Chicago, Illinois. She is a high school special education math teacher in the Chicagoland area. She is also a track coach and a business owner. She has had alopecia since she was 8 years old. When she was 12, she lost all of her hair but was able to grow it back with steroid injections and tropical creams every 6 weeks. However, in 2015, the injections, the creams, and after other medicine was no longer working. Okay, no longer worked. 10 years later, here she is, still living, still thriving, and still becoming who God has called her to be. So let's go ahead and get Miss Keya entered in on the show. One moment. Well, hello, Miss Keya.
Hi.
Welcome to My Curvy Life, honey. This show. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
I appreciate you so much. And thank you so much for saying yes. Sometimes, I'm walking up to people and I'm just like, hey, can you come on the show? So thank you for being so nice. And I just loved when I met you. I loved your energy and your confidence, girl. So I had to have you on the show. And then I thought this would be a good subject, to talk about. So thank you again.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
So, Miss Kia, your bio pretty much, started everything off. So we're just gonna jump right in if that's okay. But can you tell us a little bit more about you as can you tell us a little bit more about you?
Like I said, I am a high school special education math teacher. I coach college track. I've actually been coaching track for 26 years now. I ran track for a long time, and I've been coaching just as long. I own a vending machine business, and so I have about 21 vending machines. It's called Great Self Vending. It's named after my niece. Um, I don't know. I think that's it.
That's
That's me
it,
in a
girl.
nutshell. I love hanging out with my family and my friends. That's what I do in my spare time when I'm not working in business or we're not in track season. So being a teacher has its perks because we're off in the summer. So it's just a lot of spending time with family and my friends.
Well, thank you, honey. Thank you for introducing yourself a little bit more to us. I am going to jump right in because this is a subject that a lot of people have,
Hmm.
especially females. A
Hmm.
lot of females have this particular um, entity.
Hmm.
So, my first question to you, when did you first notice hair loss and what was your reaction to that?
The first time I noticed it when I was 8 years old, so about in the third grade. Um, I went to Michigan to visit my cousin. She had a Jerry curl, so I came back with a Jerry curl. And so we thought that I had a bald spot in the back of my head because, the chemicals and things like that. I think one of my classmates had like made fun of me or something. And so I told my mom, and so immediately we went to the dermatologist. And when you're 8, it's a different time. Like when you're a kid, you just and it was I was 8 in the 80s, so it was a totally different time. Um,
Ooh,
yeah, so it was brutal, right? But it was like, what can I do, right? I knew as a child this thing was out of my control. Um, but at 8, we started taking care of it. At the time, creams were working. So it was just like a small spot. It was in the back of my head. I remember, and we filled it in, and then we started doing my hair differently so that it wouldn't be such a distraction, right, to your peers, and
right.
causing me any additional trauma. But that was just the beginning. Um, by the time I got to fifth grade, all of my hair came out. I had like a patch in the middle of my head. It was like, oh, it's not in the comb, it's not on the pillow. That was probably the hardest time. So again, and then by this time it was like 91, 91, 92. I think I was
Mm-hmm.
7. And the wigs, they didn't look, they weren't wigging. They were totally like your grandma's wig. It was curl. I named mine together. That's how old she was. And that was probably that probably would have been more of a challenging time. Um, Again, it was injections every 6 weeks, and it was really hard because I had to wear this curly wig that looked like something my grandmother would wear to school every day. Had to go everywhere with this thing on my head, and back then nobody knew about alopecia. It was just like, oh, like kindergartners would come up to me. My sister says you wear a wig. I'm like, your sister probably not the smartest person in our class, so who cares? Um, and a lot of different things around that. Being at school, kids, pulling it off. I remember, in Chicago in the summertime, we get wet. We go to the fire hydrant and we put on our swimsuits, and it's like being at the pool. And I remember a kid snatching it off, and my cousin's just like, we still laugh about it because they're like, man, cousin, we got him. And so, but this, I tell people this story all the time. I was at an amusement park once, and we got on the bumper cars. Got hit a little too hard. That thing flew right off. My my god sister, she was like, man, they laughed so hard. We got an extra ride that day. I got up, got myself together, got on the next ride. It's called the Scrambler. It looked like an octopus. So it kind of just go that flew
Yeah.
midair. That thing flew. That thing was on the ground. I was like, oh my gosh. Like, what are we doing here? And so, like I said, as a child, yes, I cried because, I was embarrassed, right? But you know, if I didn't have the support of my family, you know, I don't even know how I would have gotten through any of those moments. Like getting those injections in your scalp is awful. It is the worst thing on this earth. I don't have kids, but that thing right there, that's painful. And it would take like 6 people to hold me down. My mom would bribe me with ice cream every 6 weeks, and I think she would cry because it's like you have to watch your child go through something like this. And yeah, it was a crazy time. It was a very, very crazy time. As the years grew on, like the injections worked. And so by the time seventh grade rolled around, my hair was growing back. And, my mom, she started putting tracks in. And, by eighth grade, I had all my hair back and I was able to, wear ponytails and different things like that and braids. Um, when high school rolled around, go ahead. Are you going to ask a question?
Yeah, I'm trying to get in it. Look,
What?
I want
What?
I want to squeeze in there a little bit. So so okay, let's go back to um I want to go back to the when this first started happening and you realized something was different, about you with your hair and I want to know, did you try anything like naturally on your own? Like, I mean, did you feel like, oh, maybe if I use this Sufferate grease like everybody, hair grease that everybody's using, did you try, what I'm saying, the oils and the different things that, people create for, this deal. Did you try any of those?
I think all the time we use sulfur 8 for everything because it stimulates the scalp, right? So even when you had braids, you were using sulfur 8 on your scalp.
Yeah.
But it was more of, whatever the dermatologist had recommended. I use Neutrogena T gel a lot, so they would give me this. I forget the name of the cream. They had the ointment, which was the clear, and they had like the cream, which was the white stuff. And so I would
Uh-huh.
put it on, and then I would wash my hair, and so it would cleanse my scalp because that would make my scalp flaky. And so, because that also supposed to like stimulate the scalp and different things like that. So
Yeah.
I did try that, but I'm sure it was the injections that worked.
Okay. How about your emotional state, your mental health state with this? Um, have you how did you accept it? How did you deal with your mental state? Because I'm sure, because our hair is our glory, as they say, our crown. How
Mhm.
was your mental state, growing up having this? Was there any times where you just felt like, I give up? Did you go through a depression behind it? What was your mental state through this process?
Not so much as a child. When I got older, maybe because it was hard, and so like I wish I could go back to the days of a child when I was like, oh, whatever, I don't care. Like I just gotta do what I gotta do, because people are gonna say something about you whether you have hair, you don't have hair, whether it's straight or curly. Um, I knew in high school that it became more stress related, and so it was monitoring my stress. So like even then, I'd have a part on this side, and I would just swoop. Back in the 90s, that swoop was what we did, and so. But yeah, I had a whole in high school. I had a whole patch in the front that was gone, but I swooped my hair down. You would never know. Um,
Right.
but no, I think I was okay, like I said, because I had the support of my family, and by that time, like more friends. It made it a little bit easier to kind of just like deal with.
So, like, it didn't bother your self-esteem or make you feel like you were less than or anything like that? Did you have any times of, just feeling your self-worth and different things of that nature?
Like I said, this time when it came out in 2015, yes, that was probably the hardest part of this because the injections didn't work and it was over time. So like I had braids and then I would get like a spot behind my ear and like one of my friends noticed and I'm like, oh man, your business, right? And so don't worry about it now. Leave my little girl alone, right? And so
Right.
um, you too close. If you can see it, you too close. And so and so, and it was just like I think the process of literally watching it happen from January of 2015 to June of 2015. Like I had braided my hair in such a way that you wouldn't even know that my hair had came out. I had tried to go to a natural style. I lived in Colorado at the time, and so I went to a natural stylist, and that was like the word. I'm like, she had no idea. Unfortunately, she had no idea. She didn't know how to cover it up, and I'm like, oh, natural styles are not my friend. And so I was like, okay, let me braid it. And so I remember going home and like in the mirror, I would see like a braid just like dangling. And I called
Mm.
my mom, I'm like, and my brother, I'm like, look, it's like it's on the, this is it. It's on like two strands right now. And so just to see that process and then going to the doctor and they're doing the injections, it's not working. They gave me prednisone that I was supposed to take every week, like a half a pill on Saturday and another half on Sunday. I did that for like 2 or 3 months. That didn't work. And then finally they said, well, there's nothing else we can do. And I was like, who told you in medical school that you should say this to anybody, regardless of their situation? Because this is like the worst thing you could say. And it was in
Right.
that
Right.
I was like, what am I gonna do? I'm like, the doctors, how you gonna give up with me and you the doctor?
Right.
I don't work
Right.
here. I don't work here. Like, what do we do? And so that was hard because I'm like, that felt like a punch in the stomach. And I just cried because I didn't know what to do. And that's before it all came out. And when it finally came out, I had to let the rest of the world, outside people that I don't know that aren't familiar with the thing I've been carrying since I was 8 years old, had to let them into that part of my life. And that was very, very scary for me.
I'm gonna intervene and say something right there. So I'm trying to see how can I word this. So this is the deal with, like with me. I'm going to use myself as an example. Um, as I've gotten older, and because of different things, when I was younger, I got every style under the sun. I had all the freeze curls, I had all the braids, I had, I mean, at that time, that was the era. You're doing your wraps and
Mhm.
your waves, and all that that damaging things that you can do to your hair. Well, at that time, I like perfect hair. I like for my hairstyle to be perfect. So
Mhm.
with me getting my hair done and getting all the freeze curls and the fountains and all the stuff that I did, I didn't realize that that was actually damaging my hair.
Mhm.
Because I would go back to back to back to back to back to back with styles. I wouldn't even take no break. You know what I'm saying? For years. So I'm not going to say I developed alopecia, but what I did develop was tremendous loss of hair.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of it had to do with the styles that I wore. And also medicine can also have your hair thin and fall out or what have you. With being that I have high blood pressure. The
Mhm.
high blood pressure medicine, that's one of the side effects.
Mhm.
So we could put it all into one group as alopecia and or loss of hair, however you want to put it. For me, it's been a psychological battle because I did at a later age start trying to save it after it had been damaged.
Mhm.
And it's harder because you've damaged, I think they call them your follicles or whatever. When you damage those, then there's no return of your hair, growing back.
Mhm.
And what I wanted to say to this, I think a lot of women, need to, have this encouragement and hear this story, because as you get older too, you know, in my earlier years, I had thick, beautiful hair. As I've come to age, because I'm 55,
Mhm.
it's just not like that anymore. So I choose to create my own crown.
Mhm.
Okay. I wanted to ask you, okay, I see that you do wear your natural look here.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Did you ever, as you've gotten older, because nowadays there's all kind of different things you can do
Mhm.
with your hair. There's the hair replacement, there's just a whole bunch of different things that you can do. There's better looking wigs and styles and all of that. What got you to the point to be able to say, hey, this is what it is. I'm gonna rock this bald look, and what got you to that point?
So when I uh June of 2015, when it was the weekend before my birthday, so around like the 10th or the 12th of June, um, I was like, I had taken my braids out and I had like literally like a little patch like right here, and I had to cut it. And one of my friends in Colorado, Jada Pinkett was in this show called Gotham at the time, and so she was bald. She's like, "Oh, look, she did," and I was like, "I don't know, that's I'm not a celebrity, you know." And so I cut it, and I told my mom and my dad and my brother, and I'm like, I had to cut it. It was hot that summer. I don't like hats. I hate stuff on my head to this day. Like I hate that winter comes and I have to wear a hat. It drives me insane. And it was just hot, and I was like, I don't like stuff on my head, and my head is small. And I started going back to the days of the amusement park. I'm like, I'm not doing that again. I don't want to be someplace and then it just slides off, and then kids are already looking at you crazy. So I don't want to be in a space and it's too hot and I'm just going along and this thing just flop off. So I'll just go bald and keep it like that. And then two was more of I wasn't ashamed of how I looked. It took me a long time, but I had to get used to it. It wasn't about like my friends
Hmm.
or anything.
Hmm.
I had
Hmm.
to I had to be comfortable in my skin. So, oftentimes we're like, man, you got this confidence. Like I'm supposed to. What am I supposed to do? Walk around with my face all sad. If being bald is a problem, I'm the least of my concerns, right? So I have way other
Right,
things in my mind occupied.
right.
But yeah, it was hot. I was like, I'm not wearing no wig. It's too hot. That synthetic hair get the itch in the no
Yep.
thank I don't want no parts of that. Mm-mm.
I do it all the time. So, how do you handle? Okay, you're comfortable within your skin, but how do you handle questions? Because I know you get questions. I know you get stares. People making comments in public. How do you, how do you handle that?
It's a lot better than it was, especially like when I first cut my hair and then I went outside, had to like run to Target, and this little kid was like, "Daddy, what's that?" And I turned around, and the little kid was staring right at me, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, do not cry, do not cry." And the dad was like, "What are you talking about, baby?" And she pointed at me, but the dad didn't say anything because they were right behind me. Oh my gosh, I got in my car and I bawled my eyes out. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. How am I gonna do this?" And so, it just took time. So like people, you know, I don't know, people try to I think people mistake me for a guy sometimes. I'm like, you see these cheekbones? Men don't have these cheekbones. Nothing about these cheekbones scream testosterone, okay? Um and and some people ask out of genuine concern, or it's just like, hey, like actually one of my students was like, I'm gonna ask you something, don't be offended. I'm like, how you gonna tell me not to be offended? But okay. She was like, do you ever get like any like fuzzies? And I was like, I don't actually. And so she's like, oh, okay. And she just went on about her business. And so like some people, even in the black community, we still don't see it enough, right? And so like, they might have an aunt, but they don't think anything of it, right? But to see somebody that you're with every day, like my students, like I said early on, it was hard, and I would cry, and I was just like, I wasn't comfortable yet, and so, but I didn't have a choice because I'm like, I'm not wearing a wig. It's too hot. It's 90 degrees, and I don't like sweating. I'm gonna go out, and whatever happens, happens. And sometimes I forget that I'm bald because I'm like, why are they staring at me? Oh, we don't have any hair. That's right. We don't have any hair. Oh, you're right. Okay, that makes sense. But it's okay now, and I think it depends to how people ask the question, right?
Yes.
Or just being nosy. So I'll just give them the short answer, like, "Oh, I just cut my hair because I felt like it." You don't need to know anything else. You don't need to know my medical history. I don't have cancer. It doesn't run in the family. Like, please don't kill me. Thanks. Okay. Yeah. I okay. I cut it because I felt like it. And like I said, depending on the sincerity of how someone asks me, then I'll tell them the story. Like, I have alopecia. You know, um, I remember one time I was at dinner with some friends. I was the only black person, and said dinner, and the grandmother says, "So what stage of cancer are you at, ma'am?" I don't have cancer, and I just stared at her like, "Who am I?"
See, I knew you had some stories behind that
I got a
question. I knew you.
story. Ma'am, ma'am, I don't have cancer. Please don't kill me. When people say that, like, please don't kill me. Thanks. You don't know my family history. Heck, I don't really know much of it, but it's not that, I promise. Like, don't get out of my face.
And I'm gonna say so. I'm gonna add to that because I wear a patch, a Dexcom 7 patch to keep track of my sugar numbers, and it's like a patch that you attach to your skin, and girl, I mean, I've had people. I'm at dinner, and this man walks by and stops, girl, because he saw the patch, on my arm. And he goes, "Are you sick? Are you wearing that patch? Are you sick? Are you?" I'm looking at him like, "Sir, really? Did you just stop at my table while I'm having dinner and ask me something like that?" And so, I don't know. People just seem like they want to just bust out and just,
They
you
do.
know, say whatever.
The best story I heard, so at the time I was in Colorado and I was working for the city government, and so I worked with all white men, and so I had wore a wig, and I was like contemplating, I'm like, it's too hot, this thing is itchy, it's already starting to slide a little bit. So I had to tell my boss, I was like, hey, so I cut my hair this weekend. He's like, oh, okay. I was like, no, I'm bald under this wig. And so I started telling him, and that was the first time I had to let somebody in who was not related to me in about, and I was like in tears. And so I was like, okay. So I took the wig off. He's like, you look great. And I was like, are you sure? And so then so we go tell the inspectors, and I was like, "Hey guys," and it's like, "Yeah, you could at least warned us." And so they had all the jokes, and not like in the disrespectful way. It's like, "Yeah, what happened?" And so like we just started laughing and joking, and I was like, "It's okay." But the guy in finance, he was like, "I thought you lost a bet." So
And you're right. Yeah, because people do that. If you
like
this
only men do
you
that.
say, well, yeah, yeah.
Women don't do that. Black women don't do
No,
that. Black women do that. But he's like, "I thought
especially us.
you lost a bet." I was like, "You know what? That's probably I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna tell people I lost the bet. I lost the bet. I don't know, but apparently I lost, and I woke up and I didn't have any shares."
Wow. So with this lifestyle, um, are you involved in any like groups or support groups that support alopecia at all? Do you?
No, I've thought about it, but I'm like, I'm, like I said, my support system is amazing. Like my friends, my family, like it's amazing. I remember when I posted because I came home to visit in July of 2015, and so I didn't want anybody to be surprised when I came home that I didn't have any hair. So I made a post about it on Facebook, and man, the comments, everybody was just like, "Oh my gosh!" Like it was like amazing, and it was, and I don't do stuff for likes or anything like that.
Right,
I,
right.
I didn't want to send a mass group chat, so I was like, "Here, I did a thing. Here we go." And so one of the things that stood out was one of my former athletes. She's like, "I can now we can see your face. Like you should have like this is you look amazing. Like you should have done this a long time ago." You know what I'm saying? And so um and I'm like, it's okay. I'm like, well, people don't understand. It's just them. They just don't understand it. Like, am I here to educate everybody? Not everybody, right? Some people just need to be exposed to other things and you know, but no support groups, just my family and friends. And they, like I said, they are phenomenal. Like I would love to go and speak, to like young kids or because it's different it's a different time being a kid in 2025 versus in the 80s, right? I
Yeah,
handle it now. I probably I don't think I'm gonna make it because these kids are awful. But exactly.
girl,
they
these kids is off the chain.
they
But
are.
I feel like anytime there's anything, and not just with your situation, but anything that's like not the norm,
Mhm.
people are going to, and especially children, just to kind of go off the subject a little bit, but I grew up and I have like really big eyes. You
Mhm.
probably can't see them through the glasses, but I have like really huge eyes. And as a kid, I got teased all the time about having big eyes, and I felt like I was cursed. I felt like, well, it's got to be me. Something's wrong with me, and I was just like, because kids can be really brutal and cruel, and they can set the tone for your growth and things of that nature. But I had one person that told me, "Girl, you got some bedrooms eyes. Your eyes is beautiful," and I took that and I built off of it because I had never had anyone really tell me, other than my mom and dad and them, the family. They would say, "Oh, girl, you got beautiful eyes, just like your daddy," and this, that. But it was like an acceptance of that I wanted from everybody else. You know what I mean? And I grew out of that and I became confident and I realized, and I'm sure you could say the same thing, that, my eyes and all of that does not depict who I am as a person, who I am inside, what I represent, what I stand for. And when I looked at you, I will admit, I was like, I wonder, I had my wonders. I was like, I wonder if she's sick, but I wasn't gonna, but what came out of when I looked at you was your confidence. You had your head up high. You just had this aura about you. And I'm like, I like that. I said, I'm gonna go up and say something to her. I'm gonna tell her she rocking that bald head, and that's what I did. And I'm thankful that you came on the show to share this story with us. I want to ask, one last question, or should I say, if you could just give us a good golden nugget, if you could send one message to someone at the start of this journey of alopecia, what would that be? What would that message be?
It's a process, and give yourself time to go through the process. It's not about what other people say or think, because when you look in the mirror, you see you. You don't see, it's not about what other people see when they see you. It's about what you see when you see you. And you have to be okay with you. Like, we live in a world where, all these outside forces and things determine or try to determine who we should or shouldn't be, how we should and shouldn't look. But none of that matters. This is you. You see you every day. I had to see me every day in the mirror when I stepped out of the shower, and I would just cry because I was like, Jesus, when did I lose my hair? Is it coming back? No. Oh, okay. Wait, is it so? No. Okay, fine. I had to go through that. It's a personal thing. It's not a, even if there's family in the house, when you get out of the shower, it's just you and your reflection in that mirror. So it's a process. Trust your process. Give yourself grace. Feel whatever you're going to feel, because it will hurt. It hurts, but it gets better. It gets better and it feels great because I save lots of money on hair care products.
Honey, let me be the first to tell you, you are so right on that because girl, if I could count all the money that I done spent down through these years, you know, I'm a firm believer you have to be comfortable in where you're at. I'm
Hmm.
comfortable right now. I create my own crown with the different hairstyles that I do. And somebody was like, "Are you gonna ever wear your natural hair?" No, I'm
Mm,
not.
mind your business.
No, unless I get to where you are at that state where I could be free in that matter. And I commend you. I think it's awesome. You keep shining. With being who you are and the acceptance of who you are. And believe you me, there are you are inspiring so many people. You probably don't may not even realize it, but you are inspiring so many people with confidence that are have went through or dealing with alopecia. So I'm hoping that if any of the people that are watching this show have comments, please put your comments in the comment section. I will forward the questions to you if that's okay. Because people may have additional questions, and you know, in this process of maybe dealing with alopecia. I want to thank you so much. Thank you for joining and talking to us about this. I know this is a sensitive subject for a lot of people that may be getting to this point of alopecia or getting to this point of hair loss. And, just seeing you and how you rocking it, girl, you make me want to take my crochets out. And,
Do
you
it.
know what I mean? But I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready for that yet. But hey, one day I may be, and I'll remember talking to you, and I'll remember this show and meeting you and seeing that she did it. So can I.
You sure can.
So thank you so much. I appreciate you. You keep striving. You keep looking good.
Yeah.
And I do want to throw in if you don't have a skincare system, I'm a Mary Kay consultant. I would love to get you on our Mary Kay cleansing system, cleansing regimen, because you got all that face, girl, that everybody is seeing all the time. And I just want you to be, you know, all nourished in that skin. Okay. So
Thank
if you decide to reach out to me on that, that'd be great. Thank you so much. I
you.
appreciate you, and I'm sure all the audience appreciates you for being on the show. Thank you. Thank you for joining my curvy life. Did
Thank
you
you.
want to leave us with anything on today?
Um, I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, just stay, trust the process, trust God, and you know, He knows. He knows everything. He knows the beginning and the end. So, He knows the beginning and the end. So just trust Him, trust the process, and it all work out. He'll give you what you need. The confidence you see, that's not me, because I'm probably my real self is probably like, we're not doing this. We bought again today, man. All right, fine. So, but I just trust God in the process. He's gonna take care of it. So
Amen. Amen. And that is a very good note to end the show on. Thank you, my curvy life. Thank you, audience, for tuning in on today. Let's give our special guest a hand. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for joining the My Curvy Life Show. And until we meet again, peace.
Something good gonna happen in